Darius, I know we've already told you a million times, but I just want you to know your grandmother and I are extremely proud of you for agreeing to do this.
We sure are. This is a huge opportunity for you to get out there and make something of yourself, baby.
Now we need to be leaving here in the next 30 minutes if we're going to make it on time. I already got everything loaded up in the car, so go on ahead and make sure you're not forgetting anything so we can hit the road.
Man, never in a million years did I think I'd be leaving a block, especially not to go to no boarding school. Besides the Tar Heels, I honestly don't even know what there is in North Carolina. Anyways, we got like a 12-hour ride ahead of us, so I figured that'll give us more than enough time to get acquainted. Kenny Ray Smith, my dad. Hustler, player, drug dealer, robber. I mean, you could have called him a lot of things, but the one thing you could never call him was broke. See, he grew up a very hard life. Losing both parents at a young age, he was forced to mature a lot faster than most. Now, for some reason, my pops hates to talk about the old days, but from what I heard, man, dude was known for punching on shit and having money. During his heyday, he and his crew had the streets of Champaign, Illinois in a headlock. Amira Lee Washington, my mom, caring, loving, gentle, really just a beautiful soul. See, she was raised in a very strict household where love and affection came secondary to respect and manners. Now, my grandparents held very strong religious beliefs, so as soon as they found out my mom was pregnant with me in high school, they kicked her out the crib. Well, that's when my pop stepped in. He moved me and my mom about 2 hours away to his crib in Champaign. Man, life at my pop's crib was lovely. I swear it seemed like anything I wanted I got. But look, I always knew my pops was getting money, but it wasn't until the feds kicked in our front door that I would find out how. See, apparently he and a few others were responsible for several armed robberies around the area. I still remember going to my dad's court dates, not really being able to understand what was going on, but when the judge handed out that sentence, man, I knew right then and there it would be a very long time until I saw my pops again as a free man. Southside Chicago, the belly of the beast. In the early 2000s, this place was a war zone, and it's still that today. After my pops got locked up, my mom's had no choice but to move us back here so she can get some help from my grandparents. I jumped off the porch in middle school and dove head first into the streets. Mom's was working 2 and 3 jobs, so the majority of the time I was alone. She'd be getting off work and I'd be leaving the house to go to school, or I'd be coming home from school and she'd be leaving to go to work. Well, it wasn't long until I completely stopped going to school and started to follow in my pop's footsteps. I got my hands on my first gun and went to work. Yeah, my first thing was this corner store right outside our neighborhood, but then I quickly upgraded and tried to hit this check cashing spot on the other side of town. Listen, bro, my crime spree didn't last very long. Them hoes locked me in the lobby while I was trying to make my escape. 12 came and yeah, bro, it was all bad, but luckily since I was a minor, I basically walked away with a slap on the wrist. My mom did everything she could to save me from the streets. She knew with me being alone all the time, I was bound to get in more trouble. So she got me a membership at the local YMCA. Now, this was my first time playing organized basketball and bruh, I instantly fell in love with the game. I mean, everything just seemed to come so natural to me. It was almost like it was in my DNA. I spent that whole summer working on my game. So by the time the season came, I was already miles ahead of everybody on the freshman team. So I got moved up to JV after just 2 games. I did my thing there as well. And before I knew it, the varsity coach was pulling me to the side to have that talk.
Hey man, you've been doing your thing out there on the JV squad. The coaches and I, we've been talking. Think it's time for you to suit up varsity. You think you can handle that?
After only playing the game for a few months, I found myself getting solid minutes in my first varsity game as a freshman. I finished with like 13 points and 4 assists. The game came extremely easy to me and I knew it was only a matter of time until I became a starter. If I'm being honest, I felt some type of way that my mom couldn't get off work to come see me play, but I understood and honestly, I was kind of used to it since she had only been to a few of my JV games. But look, she was always excited to hear how I did though. Yeah, as soon as I walked through the door, she'd be waiting right there for the play-by-play breakdown of my performance. Well, this time things were a little bit different. Mama, I'm home. What the fuck? Mama! Mama? What the? No! Mama! Mama! What the fuck? Man, my grandpa's got to be the world's slowest driver. And then my grandma got the nerve to be talking the whole trip and playing gospel music. I swear this has been the longest 5 hours of my life, and I'm really tweaking because we got like 7 hours left. But it is what it is, man. Let's get back to the story. At just 34 years old, my mom suffered a stroke. The doctor said the constant stress and lack of sleep were huge factors and ultimately cost her life. So I mean, basically you can say she worked herself to death. Now I'm sure you can imagine how hard it was for me, losing really my only parent, but also finding her dead like that didn't help either. I ended up going to stay with my grandparents who lived just a few houses down from my mom's crib. Now my grandpa is a well-respected pastor at this Lutheran church that's been a pillar in our community for years. Many people refer to him as a peacekeeper as he's been able to help solve several gang feuds in the city. But to me, he's just my grandpa, a smooth, laid-back type of dude with a lot of wisdom and a lot of respect. Now, my granny, that's who I would consider a hard ass. Yeah, she plays no games and she has a very short temper. Her and my grandpa seem to balance each other out very well. But look, when I first got to their crib, man, they tried to sit me down and establish that old school type of parenting. You know, curfews, chores, punishments, that type of stuff. Now, of course, I was grateful they took me in, but if I'm being honest, man, my mom was really the only person that could keep me out the streets. And with her being gone, yeah, it was just a matter of time before I went back to my old ways. While snooping around my grandparents' medicine cabinet, I hit the jackpot. They had a whole bunch of old prescriptions that they hadn't thrown out. See, to them it was trash, but to me it was treasure. I took anything with value that I could find and started making transactions. You can get your hands on some perks really easy in the city, but real prescription lean, man, that's a different story. I re-upped and made a few more plays, and then I put the guys on so we all could eat. It was me, Dre, Lil Rob, Kev, and a few others. Now, we're gonna get into each of their stories on the next episode, but for all you need to know right now is these was my brothers. Yeah, we was having real motion in the city. At this point, I had completely given up sports. Yeah, I had put the ball down and picked the pistol up. But look, naturally, when you have emotion, jealousy starts to come from out of nowhere. Well, that jealousy caused my best friend Dre to lose his life and eventually kicked off a bloody war in my neighborhood. But like I said, man, we're gonna get into all that on the next episode. I found myself in a very serious situation and got locked up for a few weeks. Luckily, the respect the judge had for my grandpa allowed me to get out, but only under the stipulation that I leave the state of Illinois until I turn 18. Well, that's why I'm going here, Chapel Hill Academy. It's a prep school somewhere up in North Carolina. I mean, it was either this or sit in jail for only God knows how long. But my grandpa's real good friends with the priest there, so he was able to pull some strings and get me enrolled. I guess they're known for their academics and supposedly they got a real good squad there. I hear a few players made it to the league, but I don't know, man, we'll see. As of right now, I'm not really focused on hooping, but I mean, who knows what the future holds. Anyways, I know things gonna be hectic when we get there since today is move-in day, so I'm gonna try to get a little bit of rest. I'll tap back in with y'all in a minute. First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for blessing me, and of course a big shout out to my grandparents for helping me get to this point. Also, I'd like to thank the teachers and the staff here at Chapel Hill, as well as all my coaches and teammates for putting up with me over the past 2 years. And oh yeah, I can't forget the people back home in Iraq, man, you already know what it is with me. But yeah, after taking my time and really weighing out all my options, I've officially decided to attend. Man, hold on. It ain't no way we finna skip over the past 2 years of my life like ain't nothing happened. The last time we spoke, I was just getting to campus to start my junior year of high school. Now here I am on stage about to announce what college I'll be playing football at next year. Man, give me a second to rewind time so I can show you everything that happened that led to me being at this point. Pulling up to Chapel Hill, I really didn't know what to expect. This was my first time leaving the state of Illinois, and honestly, I think I started to have a panic attack. And to make things worse, my grandparents didn't even come inside. Nah, they dropped me off at the gates and got on. After roaming around for a little bit, I was finally able to find my dorm room, which honestly wasn't much bigger than the room I had back at home. I dropped my bags off and unpacked a little bit, but then I was told to report to the front office. That's where I was given my uniforms. Man, they gave me sweaters and ties and slacks and handkerchiefs. I mean, really all type of stuff. But later that night, I was looking at the schedule and I noticed we had to go to something called Divine Services. Man, bro, I knew this place was a Lutheran school or whatever, but I had no idea we were required to go to church. They had us in here with our heads bowed, praying, fellowshipping, worshiping. Man, I laid in bed that first night really questioning myself, like, did I make a mistake coming here? Then I quickly remembered my only other alternative was sitting in the Cook County jail until I turned 21, so
Yeah. The first month or so was miserable. I mean, I didn't know anybody or have any real friends, so all I did was go to class, get on the game, and go to sleep. I had gotten word that if you played sports or were involved in some type of club, you get more privileges around campus. With basketball tryouts coming up, I figured it'd be best if I hit the gym to tighten up on my game. But honestly, man, I wasn't too concerned because like I told y'all before, basketball had always come natural to me, so making a team should have been a piece of cake. Bro, that tryout was anything but a piece of cake. I mean, I started off pretty strong, knocking down a few quick shots. I was feeling good, but I immediately knew I couldn't compete with that level of competition. I had no clue then, but of course I found out afterwards that a few of the players we were playing against were ranked in the nation. I mean, Cade Harding, for example. That's the #1 high school player in all of basketball. I actually heard about Lil Buddy when I was back in Iraq, but actually playing against him, man, that hit different. It was a truly humbling experience because, like I told y'all, I mean, I never really trained for basketball. I was just naturally good, and honestly, we didn't have that type of talent back at home. So when I actually played somebody who had dedicated their whole life to the game, man, I found out quick that I wasn't on their level. Not only did I not make the team, but I left the gym with a bruised ego as well. After not being selected for the team, I had a lot of free time on my hands, so of course I went back to my old hustling ways. I was able to find a connect on Telegram, and I bought a pack of stolen iPhones. I worked my magic to get the phones repaired and unlocked, and then I started making plays. I ran up a bag in a very short amount of time, but since I was only a junior, that meant I wasn't able to leave campus. So all I did was buy DoorDash every single day and buy clothes and shoes online. Every Friday is casual Friday, so that meant we could pretty much wear whatever we wanted to class. Man, listen, I'm telling you, I didn't wear the same pair of shoes twice. From Nike to Jordan to Versace to Dior, you name it, I had it. Things were going great. Well, that was until somehow 2 of the stolen phones got tracked back to the campus, and of course I ended up getting snitched on. I found myself back in trouble, but this time it was a little bit different than before.
You know, Darius, your grandfather really put his neck on the line to get you into this program, and if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. So rather than kick you out, I'm willing to give you a second chance, but only under these circumstances.
The dean insisted that if I was going to stay enrolled at Chapel Hill, I had to see a therapist at least 3 times a month. With the loss of my mom and a few of the guys back home, he felt that sitting down and talking to someone could help, but we'll get into all that another time. Also, I had to enroll in an extracurricular activity. He felt like I had too much free time on my hands. Well, that's how I ended up here, the Chapel Hill Hawkeyes football team. The chess club was full, I for damn sure wasn't playing no soccer, and track is, well, track. Anyways, the team sucked when I joined, so I didn't even have to try out, I just had to show up. I started off the first game playing cornerback. I got a big hit that resulted in a fumble, but that was about it. See, I quickly realized why playing this position was so hard. I'd always get lost with all the movement and shuffling going on in the backfield and totally forget about the receiver running wide open up the sideline. That happened a few times in that game. For some reason, I just couldn't stay in front of my matchup. If you ask me, man, cornerback is the hardest position to play in football, but whatever. Anyways, the next game, coach moved me to slot receiver and I also got a new number. He saw how much speed I had, so he put me back to return punts. Man, let's just say that didn't work out too well either. My football career was off to a horrible start, and honestly, joining the track team didn't sound so bad. Well, that's when everything changed. Alright, so listen, coach, I've been thinking, and before you say no, at least hear me out. What if you put me in at running back? I mean, I got the speed and athleticism to make plays, and plus, not to mention, Matthew's gonna be out this week because of his herpes outbreak. I mean, we're 0-5 and we haven't won a single game all season. We really got nothing to lose at this point. The next 4 games of the season, I put on an absolute clinic. I honestly couldn't tell you where my skills came from, but I was virtually unstoppable. I approached playing running back like playing a game of tag. I just tried my best not to get touched. And on top of that, I wasn't afraid of any type of contact. As a matter of fact, man, I actually look forward to trying to run people over. We'd only win 2 games my junior year, but I honestly wasn't even worried about that. Yeah, man, I was just focused on having fun and making plays. But I will say though, my performance was a huge boost to the team. I mean, it seemed like the guys started to play with more confidence and passion, which was great because it gave us something to build off of for the next season. Being on a losing team sucks because obviously you don't win many games, but when you're the star on a losing team, yeah, it's a little bit different. You start to stand out and shine brighter than everybody else. Naturally, people start thinking like, if only they had a few more pieces to build around him, they could probably win a championship. Well, that's how it was for me at least. The stats I put up over those 4 games started to garner me attention from schools all across the country, and before I knew it, I was a 3-star recruit and ranked in the top 400 players in high school football. It seemed like as soon as I got my 3rd star, colleges from all over the country started sending me letters. But I quickly learned there were 2 different types of letters. Yeah, see, one letter is a school just letting you know you made it on their radar. I mean, it's pretty generic and they probably sent the same exact thing to thousands of other athletes. Meanwhile, the other letter is more personalized and it actually seemed like the coach could have wrote it himself. Well, I sat down and responded to all the schools that actually seemed genuinely interested in me, and I scheduled a few college visits. This was my first time on a plane, and I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't scared. I toured a few college campuses and checked out all their facilities. I honestly had never even been to a college, so I was getting blown away by the simplest things. But look, all the coaches kept telling me the same thing. They said I was too small to play on a college level, and I would need to add on more girth and size if I was going to have any success. After about the 3rd time being called small and skinny, I started to get pissed, but I ain't tripped. I just knew I had a lot more work to do. As soon as I got back to Chapel Hill, I started doing my research on how to put on a lot of weight fast. I spent the next 2.5-3 months dirty bulking. If you're not familiar with what dirty bulking is, it's basically you just eat whatever you want, whenever you want, as much as you want. Now, it's usually greasy junk food, but it helps you get really big really fast. After my bulk was done, I had a little bit of a stomach, from all the bad eating. But instead of doing the traditional cardio like jumping rope or running sprints, I lifted weights like crazy. By the time my senior season came around, I looked like a completely different player. First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for blessing me, and of course a big shout out to my grandparents for helping me get to this point. Also, I'd like to thank the teachers and the staff here at Chapel Hill, as well as all my coaches and teammates for putting up with me over the past 2 years. And oh yeah, I can't forget the people back home in Iraq, man, you already know what it is with me. But yeah, after taking my time and really weighing out all my options, I've officially decided to attend the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. Can y'all believe it's been almost 2 years since the last time we spoke? Man, time really does fly. But look, as you can see, I'm back home in Chicago and it feels so good to be back. But man, we got a lot of catching up to do though. I think the last time we spoke, I had just finished my senior season at Chapel Hill and officially committed to go play football at Alabama. Well, as I'm sure you can imagine, a lot has changed since then, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we gonna flash back to my first day on campus here at Alabama University. Now, if you tuned in the last episode, you should know that I committed here after my breakout senior season at Chapel Hill. Well, one of the main selling points that helped me make my decision was the living arrangements they have for athletes. Instead of staying in a small cramped dorm room like most other universities, here at Bama they put you up in a nice house. Now, of course I don't live here alone. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath crib that I share with 2 other teammates. We each got our own room and bathroom with a nice sized living room and kitchen as well. But look, I'll be honest, I don't even really remember my first few days on campus. My grandpa gave me his Lexus to drive until my NIL money kicked in, so me and the guys spent every single day partying, drinking, and, well, you should know. But speaking of NIL, as soon as my first check hit, I sent my grandparents some money for bills and utilities. My grandpa is a pastor, so he refused to accept it unless I told him it was for my tithes and offerings. Anyways, the next stop I made was at the dealership, and y'all should already know what I got. I wore that red key around my neck every day like it was a diamond chain, just waiting for somebody to ask about it. Well, nobody ever said anything, but I know for sure they was looking. Bruh, when I first got here, I should have been nominated for Player of the Year, and I'm not talking about on the field. If she was a 7 or above, chances are her number was in my phone. I picked up a reputation around campus as a ladies' man. It seemed like every other night it was a new baddie over at the crib. This went on all the way up until spring camp started. Bruh, I came in totally unprepared and out of shape. All that drinking and partying caught up to me quick. I think I threw up every day for like the first week. By the time the spring game got here, I had finally got my wind back, but I had just spent all the training camp getting in shape, whereas all the other running backs were already in shape and they was just sharpening their skills. Well, this caused me to slip down the depth chart, and before I knew it, I was barely getting any reps at practice. The running back coach called me into his office and we had a very tough conversation.
Well, Smith, I think you knew this conversation was coming. The coaches and I have talked, and we believe it'd be best if you considered redshirting this year. Your play as of right now is nowhere close to where we expected it to be when we brought you in, and that's okay. Sometimes the transition from high school to college can be tough. Just Take a year off to learn the game and build your body up. Come back next year fresh and ready to lead this offense from the backfield.
After meeting with Coach, I'll be honest, I was completely devastated. Although I hadn't been playing sports very long, I had never been nobody's backup. So redshirting and not playing at all was crazy. I laid in bed that night with my mind set on hitting the transfer portal, but I quickly found out it was way too late into the year for all that. In my mind, I only had two options, either quit the team or redshirt and try again next year. Well, good thing my grandpa is a lot wiser than I am because he recommended something I never even thought of.
Well, Darius, there are several other positions on the field. Why not humble yourself and go talk with your coach? You have the natural speed and athleticism. I'm sure there's another position you can play.
After hanging up with my grandpa, I immediately went to go talk to my coach. He thought it was a bad idea and insisted that I redshirt, but I wasn't going for it. I refused to leave his office until he agreed to give me a tryout at another position. Once he finally gave in, it was time to get to work. I spent the next few weeks before the first game in the weight room and in the film room. I swear I probably did 1,000 squats just trying to maximize my explosiveness. Well, the first game came and went and I didn't see the field not once. But the second game on the road versus Texas A&M, it was my time to shine. We were down late in the third quarter and that's when coach called my number. I was the only man back to return it and I took that thing up the field for 45 yards. That one play earned my spot as the second kick returner along with my guy Kool-Aid. Every team knew how dangerous he was returning kicks, but they had no idea who I was. So for the first half of the season, all the teams kicked my way and more times than not, I made them pay. I didn't take a single handoff my freshman year, but instead I made a name for myself on special teams. I finished the year being awarded the Johnny the Jet Rodgers Award, and I was selected as a first-team All-American. So as you just seen, my freshman year at Bama was filled with many ups and downs, but that's honestly been a story of my life. But trust me though, things get greater later. Yeah, my sophomore year was completely mind-blowing and I promise you nobody saw it coming. But listen, I need y'all to stay tuned to the very end of this episode because I need your advice. With Coach Saban retiring, there's been a lot of changes within the program and honestly I think it's time for me to weigh out my options. But yeah, let's get back into it. I took a completely different approach to my sophomore year. With my guy Jace McClain leaving for the NFL, I knew the starting job would be up for grabs. I spent the entire summer in the weight room, getting my body right, and in the film room, getting my mind right. I came into training camp the fourth running back on the depth chart, but by the end of camp, I had officially secured the starting job. I went on to win just about every single award there is to win from the running back position. And of course, I finished the year as a first-team All-American. But the most important trophy I took home was the Heisman. After only playing football for just a few years, I had officially won the most prestigious award there is and put my name in the history books forever. See, I told y'all I had an unbelievable sophomore year, but you didn't want to believe me. Man, if I'm being honest, it's kind of hard for me to believe myself. But look, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of changes going on with the program at Alabama since Coach Saban left. And I'm honestly not really sure what the team is going to look like next season with all the transfers. Say, y'all do me a favor and comment down below. Should I just stay put at Alabama or should I jump into that transfer portal? But look, Granny cooked my favorite meal and I'm starving, so I'm going to go ahead and dig in. I'll tap back in with y'all in the next one. NIL versus the NFL. Man, this is a topic I've been seeing a lot lately. Well, now that my junior year is completed, it's finally time for me to figure out what my next move is going to be. And I need your help. There's a lot of key factors we got to take into consideration while making this decision. Of course, for most of you, the first thing that comes to mind is money. And that's okay. I mean, money is important. However, you also got to remember the average span for an NFL running back is only 2.5 years. But listen, we're going to get into all that a little later. First, we got a very important meeting to get ready for. WME Sports, one of the largest talent agencies in the world. Their list of clients is massive. I mean, they represent huge names like Venus and Serena, Joel Embiid, Matt Damon, Marlon Humphreys, Ben Affleck, just to name a few. Well, listen, man, they flew me out to LA and put me up in this nice Airbnb, all so we can meet and discuss what they could potentially do for my career if I decide to turn pro. I made it clear that I still hadn't made my decision, but they insisted that I at least come out and hear their pitch, so we're about to get dressed and head over there.
All right, so now that we've gotten to know one another a little bit, why don't you tell us exactly what you're looking for out of this potential partnership?
Well, honesty and integrity for starters, but I mean, after all that, I really want to focus on building a brand. As we've already talked about, now is probably the worst time in the history of the league to be a running back. So I definitely want to focus on securing deals and endorsements outside of the game of football. I mean, as we both know, injuries are inevitable, so I want to make sure that I'm still in position to take care of my family once my playing days are over.
Hey, man, those are some very understandable concerns. One injury can completely derail an entire career. I mean, we've seen it happen many of times. And unfortunately, some of those guys didn't have a team that'll fight as hard as we will.
So this is what it feels like, huh? Yeah, this must be what it feels like to have all your hard work pay off. Shit, if I'm being real, this is my first time ever really fully dedicating myself to something. And honestly, I don't even feel like I deserve it. I mean, the money, the fame, the accolades, all that don't mean nothing to me. And it's probably because this was never supposed to be my life in the first place. Alright, so look, I know y'all been waiting to hear about all the guys. And if I'm being honest, I kind of been trying to avoid this conversation. Well, today, we're going to talk about my main man, Dre. See, this dude was my brother. When I moved to Chicago from Champaign, he was the first one to embrace me and show me love. My guy was a true comedian. I mean, it was impossible to be mad around this dude because he never took nothing serious. Not only that, he was smart as hell too. Let bro tell you he was a borderline genius. Dre loved football. I mean, that's all he talked about. If he wasn't with us kicking it on the block, then he was doing just that, playing football. Well, that's until he found out he had a baby on the way. Yeah, that's when everything changed. Bro had to put the football down and pick the broom up. He got him a little part-time job at Walmart. Man, I still remember the day we almost got him fired for riding bikes through the store. But that was back when they was open 24 hours. Even though bro had to take a break from sports to stack up some bread, his football dream stayed alive. I remember he would always say that he was going to make it to the league and bring all the guys there with him. Well, me on the other hand, I was fully committed to the streets. I was always looking for the next scheme, always looking for the next come up. Well, my greed and ego ended up costing me in a way I could have never imagined. Me and one of the guys set up this play to buy some lean, but whole time we was really plotting on robbing his Goofy for his pipe. As soon as he got there, it wasn't no talking. I held dude at gunpoint while folks beat him. We took everything he had and got on. Me, Dre, Montana, and a few of the other guys were supposed to meet later on that night after Dre got off work. So I went back to the crib and got on the game until it was time to link. Well, reports say around 10:30 p.m., a dark colored sedan let off several shots, striking and killing Dre a few feet away from the bus stop. Out of everybody that I lost, Dre's death affected me the most. Not only was it my fault the bro was dead, but he didn't even know why he died. I tried numbing the pain with prescription pills and a few other things, but nothing seemed to work. I knew if I was going to get any type of closure from this situation, I was going to have to go talk to my boy. Man, bro, I know you probably been wondering what took me so long to come and see you, but I still can't believe you gone. You know I miss you though. Your mom still miss you. I mean, everybody miss you. Some days I wake up in the morning and I call your cell phone like, man, let me call and see what bro on, but it just ring. No voicemail, no nothing. It just ring on me. It's like I still can't accept that you gone. Even on the day of your funeral, man, I woke up that morning like I know my boy gonna call. I know my homie gonna call, but you never did. Look, homie, I'm sorry, man. I messed up bad with this one. I know I messed up bad and it cost you your life. I should have been the one that got hit up that night, not you, Dre. I should have been the one that's gone right now. You was doing everything right. You had dreams, you had goals, you had a son. Look, bro, look, I'm gonna make this right for you, I promise. I don't know how, but I'm gonna make this right, bro. Dre's death kicked off a war in our section of the city, but myself and Montana, we had a vested interest because technically we were the ones responsible for all the bloodshed. At the time, I didn't have the heart or the courage to tell any of the other guys why Dre was really killed. I didn't even tell his family. Everyone thought it was just a gang-related homicide, which only made the retaliation even worse. My grandparents knew exactly what type of time I was going to be on, so before everything kicked off, they set me down to try to talk some sense into me. Out of respect for them, I acted as if I was listening to what was being said, but whole time my mind was on revenge. Now, I can't say too much about what happened on this platform, but just know, me and Montana made sure a couple people knew exactly how much Dre was loved. Shortly thereafter, I got locked up for a probation violation. Then I was sent to Chapel Hill in North Carolina to finish high school. The meeting with WME went great. I love their pitch, and I honestly think there's a potential for a future working relationship. But look, the last time we spoke, I was faced with a huge dilemma. Stay at Alabama for my junior year or pack my bags and jump into the transfer portal. Well, I'm sure by now most of you already know what decision I made, but for those of you that don't, let's get into it.
That's a huge bitch.
Once Coach Saban announced his retirement, we literally lost half our team to the transfer portal. I mean, key guys were jumping in the portal left and right, and honestly, I don't blame them. I got word that the new coach coming in would be Coach DeBoer. I was already familiar with him as he recruited me pretty heavy coming out of high school, so I was okay with that. But my main concern would be the new offensive coordinator, Coach Tommy Tough Knuckles. I didn't know much about the new OC, but the one thing I did know was he liked to use multiple running backs in his offense. So that meant my touches would probably be cut in half. This was a huge concern for me, so I pretty much had my mindset on transferring. Well, that's when my backup, Jan Miller, pulled me aside to have a conversation in the cafeteria one day.
Listen, bro, don't transfer, because all the main pieces is still here. Look, I know you're concerned about sharing your touches, but look at it like this. You will be in the NFL soon, so you need to preserve your body. All I'm doing is taking a load off your shoulders.
I mean, if I'm being real, bro was right. Not only am I a national champion, but I also won the Heisman, for crying out loud. I was a lock for the NFL, and my junior year was nothing more than a technicality. I still wanted to weigh out all my options though, so I spent some time just searching around seeing if maybe I could find a better fit. Once I finally made up my mind, I reached out to my granny for a little reassurance.
Well, baby, you know I support you no matter what. This seems to be the best option right now, so, I mean, I don't think there's anything else to ponder on. I agree with, the action that you're taking. You just gotta stand firm on your beliefs and, stay prayed up, but this is what's best right now.
So unfortunately, my junior season didn't end up going as expected. We didn't make the national championship game, and I came in second place in the Heisman voting. I took a risk by making the decision to stay at Alabama and play under a new coach in a new system. But hey, it is what it is. Now I have an even bigger decision to make. Should I forego the NFL and try to win another Heisman or national championship? Or should I hire an agent and enter my name into the draft? Man, y'all let me know what my next move should be down below. Man, can somebody please explain the purpose of the NFL draft combine? I mean, honestly, what do they expect to see from me doing a few non-contact drills that they didn't already see watching me play 3 years of college football? But my agent said it would probably help my draft stock if I went, so it is what it is. Anyways, my flight is about to board, so let me catch y'all up with everything that's happened since the last time we talked. After meeting with the sports agents in LA, I returned back to my crib in Alabama. Man, I can't lie, I miss kicking it with the guys. We really just chilled and played the game and reflected on last season. Well, after a while, of course, we started talking about our plans for next season, and that's when I told them I was thinking about going pro. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I've really been thinking about going to the league, but I really don't know.
Man, Goofy, what you don't know?
Nah, bro, it ain't even like that. I'm just saying, what if?
What if? What if what? Bro, you got millions of dollars just waiting on you. Yo, stop playing with this money before we get on your head, man.
Yeah, bro, you tripping. If I was in your spot, I would have been gone. I mean, what you staying here for? To go 8-4 again? Man, enter your name in the draft and go to the league and be great.
Nigga tripping.
They didn't know it at the time, but that was all the confirmation I was looking for. I mean, I had already talked to my coaches and my grandparents and listened to their opinions, but I was needing somebody to keep it 100% real with me. I spent the rest of that night kicking it, and then the first thing the next morning, I called the guys over at WME and let them know I was going pro. Everything moved so fast. I made the announcement that I was entering the league, and then the next thing I knew, I was back in LA training for the combine. I was planning on staying in Alabama and training at the facilities there, but my agent insisted that I come back to LA and train with his guys over at Zeus Gym. I can't lie, bro, that was definitely some of the best work I've ever gotten. Not only that, but all my workouts were private, so that meant the gym was completely empty, just me and the trainers. But look, when I wasn't getting my meat stretched out in the gym, I was on the beach doing sand sprints with a 20-pound weight vest on. Bruh, I swear I felt like I was preparing for war or something. But my overall experience with Zeus Gym was a 10 out of 10, so hey, if you ever on the West Coast and you looking to get in some good work, I definitely recommend hitting them up.
Alright, so look, I'm gonna walk you through how everything is gonna work, okay?
Alright, cool.
So first they'll have you come out and do a bench press. This drill isn't as important for your playing style, so just do the best you can. Then next they'll have you do the 40-yard dash. Now we talked about this before, so you know how important this is. After that, there'll be a few movement drills, which should be a piece of cake, and then they'll have you do a few drills with the ball. Listen, you've got this, man. Just stay calm and do what you always do, okay?
Okay, yeah, right, I got you. Just stay calm. Man, bro, I haven't threw up like that in years. I know my agent told me to stay calm, but I think I just had a nervous breakdown. After I got off my knees in the bathroom, I had to call and talk to my granny. When the stakes are high like this and everything's on the line, she's really the only person that seems to keep me calm. But I think I'm good now. Yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm just going to go out here and do what I do. Focus on what I can control, and anything other than that is out of my hands. All right, man, the time has finally come. We're on stage getting ready to do this bench press, man. Now, I remember my agent telling me to kind of, preserve my energy, but I'm going for 20 reps, man. Let's go. That's 2. This is easy. Come on, bro. You got to go all the way down, man. Let's go. Lock in, man. Lock it out. Lock it out. Lock it out. Let's go. That's 5. Y'all stamina's looking good. I'm feeling good, man. Let's go. Yeah. That's 8. That's 8. That's 9. Come on, baby. That's 10 reps right there, man. 10 more and we good. 10 more and we good. D, lock it out, man. Okay, that's 12. Our stamina's kind of going crazy, bro. We running out of stamina. That's 14. Give me 15 of them things. Oh, you got to go all the way down, bro. Okay, here we go. That's 16. Come on. Can you get 17? Can you get 18? Can you get 18? Okay. Not too bad, y'all. Not too bad, man. I was able to knock out 18 reps, although it should have been right at like 20 because I didn't go down all the way, I believe, on like 2 reps. But hey, 18 is pretty good. Let's see where we ranked. Okay. We ranked number 13 out of the running backs, man. That's not very good, but hey, I'll take it. Let's move on to this 40-yard dash. All right, man. It's that time, bro. It's that time to go ahead and lock in, bro. Yes, sir. Get your mind right. Get your mind right, man. This is for everything. This is for all the marbles, man. You need to perform. Let's go. Lock in. Lock in. Lock in. Lock in. Okay. Perfect start. Yeah, we moving. Okay. It's looking good. Okay. Oh my God, bro. A 4.29 is crazy, G. A 4.29 is crazy, and I officially took the number 1 spot out of all the running backs. Like, bro, I think that's up there with the record. I'm not sure what the record is, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we got to be a few half seconds away from the record of the fastest 40 time ever, bruh. I'm not even gonna hold y'all, bro. The rest of these drills is finna be cake. I'm worry free right now. The only thing I was worried about was that 40-yard dash, and we did our thing. Now we're here in the long jump or whatever it's called, bro. And hey, I'm pretty sure I did my thing on this as well. I think I should have got 12 feet, but they kind of hold me on that one, but it's all cool, bro. So we took first place in a broad jump as well. Let's go ahead and move on. What we got next, man? I think we got the cones. Yeah, we got the cones, man. I'm finna do my thing in these cones too. If y'all can't tell, man, I'm on 10 right now. We came out here and performed. The whole time I was in LA training, all I was worried about was a 40. I was on the beach doing 40-yard dashes with a 20-pound weight vest on, only to come out here and take first place in the 40-yard dash and first place in the broad jump, first place in this 20-yard shuttle. Hey, man, we doing our thing, and it's looking like your boy gonna be a lottery pick. Now, we have finally reached the portion of the NFL Combine where we hit the field and we show off our skills. Now, if you ask me, these drills are completely pointless simply because NFL scouts already have footage of me from the past 3 years performing these same exact moves against live defense. And not only live defense, but some of the best defense in the nation. But we ain't gonna complain, we just gonna make the best of it. So I'm doing my thing here, but the main thing that I am concerned about is the pass catching. See, my goal during this whole combine is to show off that I have speed and I have hands. That way you don't have to worry about me being in the game for the first and second down, but no, the third down as well. So we finished 4 for 4 on the reaction time drills. Now we're here at the pass catching, good over the shoulder catch, man. Let's go. I want to show off my route running a little bit. Now I'm a little shaky on the routes, bro, but as long as we catch the ball, we should be cool. Okay, let me see what we got here. Oh yeah, the route running is definitely not where it needs to be, but that's something we can fix, you know what I'm saying? Now we got our deep ball, bro. All you got to do is catch the ball, man. Good over the shoulder catch in the zone, man. We went 8 for 8 for the on the field drills. We did our thing. So look, we finished 13th in the bench press, first in the 40-yard dash, first in the broad jump, first in the 20-yard shuttle, and who knows what we finished in our drills, man. But we did our thing. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty confident right now. They have me ranked as a mid-first rounder. I don't know how I feel about that, bruh, to be honest with you, but hey, man, I'm feeling confident going forward. Let's see what happens. Well, I guess I should start off by saying welcome to the new crib. I finally unpacked the final box a few days ago, and it's starting to feel like home around here. Now, the last time you saw me was at the NFL Draft Combine, so I know you probably wonder how I ended up here, right? Well, hey, let's talk about it. The house was full of people on the night of the draft. Yeah, I decided instead of flying to New York, I was gonna bring the NFL to the trenches. I was on edge most of the night, really just staying ducked off into myself. I was really just hoping I didn't get embarrassed and my name not get called. Well, my phone finally rung and it was the general manager for the Washington Commanders. I was officially an NFL running back. Next thing I knew, I was on a flight headed to the team's facility. When I got there, it was a huge celebration with so many new faces just happy to see me. The only thing I was worried about was signing that contract. I don't know, I was just paranoid thinking like, what if I break my leg walking into the building or something? But look, I officially inked a 4-year, $15.9 million deal with the Washington Commanders. Hey, I'm rich. As soon as I got to the city, the first step was finding a crib. Now, as we all know, this league can be extremely unpredictable at times, so rather than purchasing a huge mansion, I found a nice low-key house ducked off a few minutes away from the practice facility. Man, listen, it's got everything. A 2-car garage, a pool table, open kitchen, pond in the backyard, quiet neighborhood. Bro, I'm telling you, it's perfect. Now, I know y'all was probably expecting me to make some huge purchase, but nah. Honestly, I haven't spent any of my NFL money. Instead, I've just been living off my old NIL checks. Well, I guess the one big purchase I did make was my grandparents a new car. Man, they've had that Lexus forever, so to be able to put them in something new after all they've done for me, man, that felt amazing. Coming into training camp, I was the clear favorite for the starting job, but I knew I still had to compete and win the position. Well, during training camp, I did my thing and showed off why they drafted me here in the first place. But none of that even mattered unless I was performing against real competition. So the 3 preseason games would be my chance to fully secure the starting job, and I went out there and did just that. Man, listen, the way I was living while growing up in Chicago, I knew there was always a good chance I'd end up in jail. But as you all know, I've since changed my life and made something of myself. So for me to be sitting in a maximum security prison after coming this far is crazy. But I'm not here for the reason you may think. So about 2 weeks ago, I was at the crib in the kitchen, cooking some lunch and scrolling on YouTube. I had just finished up my morning workout and honestly, I was feeling pretty good. Well, that's when I got an urgent text message from my grandpa telling me to call him as soon as possible. Yo, what's up, Pops? Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
I mean, you told me to call you. What's going on?
Alright, look, son, I'm gonna come right out and say it. Your father has been calling the house for the past few weeks looking to speak with you.
Man, hold on, what? Why you just not telling me this?
Your grandmother and I thought it'd be best if we waited until the season was over to tell you. That way you can stay focused on the game. But listen, I went ahead and gave him your number, so you should be hearing from him soon. I'll give you a call a little later. I love you, son.
Upset, confused, anxious, nervous. Man, those were all just a few of the emotions I felt while waiting on his call. I hadn't talked to my dad since a couple weeks after my 15th birthday. So for him to have the audacity to reach out now, after I made it this far, just blows my mind. I spent the rest of that day glued to my phone waiting for his call to come, but it never came. The following days, my nerves were just as high, so I knew I needed to get out the house. I spent the most of my time in the car exploring the city or putting in work in the weight room. Well, I was having lunch in the cafeteria at the team's training facility one day, and that's when the call finally came. Over the course of the next week, my dad and I talked every day for hours. Mainly about sports, of course, and a few old memories from my childhood. Well, about 3 years ago, he got moved here to the Florida State Prison to finish off his sentence. I was going to be here in Florida anyways for the Pro Bowl, so I figured I may as well pay him a visit.
Man, look, son, I know me not being there for you after your mother passed, I know that hurt. I would have given anything to change the way things happen, but unfortunately, I can't. And that's something that haunts me every day.
Why did you feel it was okay to stop calling the house and responding to my letters after my mama died?
I was hurt, son. I was hurt. I mean...
You were hurt? You don't think I was hurt? Man, be for real. You not only left me to raise myself as a kid, but you left me again when I needed you the most.
Darius, look, man, I know I'm not perfect. None of us are. All I'm trying to do here is just establish a relationship with my son. Now, I understand that there's a lot we need to talk about, but we ain't got to get into all that one day. Why don't we just catch up a little, man?
The visit with my dad went well, I guess. I mean, we talked through a few things, but there's still a lot more we need to discuss. He told me he had his sentence reduced and he should be getting out within the next 3 years. I honestly don't know how to feel about the whole thing, but I mean, it is what it is. Anyways, I got like a 2-hour drive back to Orlando, so I guess I might as well fill y'all in on how my first year in the league went. Man, it's a lot that they don't prepare you for in the league. You just really gotta adapt to the system. I thought I'd have a lot more free time than I did in college, but nah, it's the complete opposite. Most days I wake up at about 5:30 a.m. and have my protein shake, and then I do my morning routine. Shortly thereafter, I'm out the door to get in some early morning cardio. Now, I normally try to do about 3 miles at a pretty moderate tempo just to get my blood flowing. Once I'm done with that, it's off to the team facility for weights and my early morning meetings. Now, those usually last about 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and then depending on when our game is scheduled, we have a pretty intense practice. I ain't gonna lie though, you probably think that the practice would be somewhat fun, but honestly, it's really the worst part because all we do is walk through the exact same thing we just finished watching on film, but hey, I guess it is what it is, right? Another thing they don't prepare you for is your family begging. Man, honestly, I can't even really call these people my family because I never seen them before I made it to the league, but now that I'm here, they seem to be popping up everywhere. One of my uncles even matched with me on Tinder, posing as a fine-ass Latina chick. I'm telling y'all, bruh, it's getting crazy. But look, I was back in the city for the opening of my grandparents' new church. I guess you can consider this my first big purchase. Yeah, I was able to get the building for pretty cheap, and then I spent a couple thousand just remodeling the place. But anyways, while I was there visiting, that same uncle pulled me to the side to ask for a crazy request.
Oh, Darius, what's going on, baby? What's going on? Hey, just the man I wanted to see. Now, look, I just want to say, before I say anything, I want to say congratulations for all your accomplishments, whatever that is. But look, man, I got something to talk to you about. Real big money moves. So I think that was about last week. I was eating up at the homeless shelter, and I thought to myself, what if I started doing real estate for luxury cardboard homes? That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? It'd be crazy. We start a line of cardboard boxes. We call it cheap living from the soup kitchen. You dig what I'm saying? Now look, all I'm gonna need is about 80 grand. Okay, I'm gonna need about 80 grand. And we can get this thing started. Now look, once everything get back, you know what I'm saying? I get 95. I take 95%, you get 20. Now tell me, do I look like somebody that's not trustworthy? Huh? You can trust me with your money. Go and give me that 80 grand. You can trust me with your money. Go and give me that 80 grand.
So look, I'll be the first to say that I lived a pretty boring life off the field this year. Yeah, I didn't do too much and I just stayed out the way for the most part. But on the field, that was a completely different story. I was a problem for any opposing defense they put in front of me. Not only that, but I became a key weapon on this year's team.